There are people who believe they can hurt me, but that makes me laugh because they don't know who I am. They don't know my thoughts, and they can't even touch the things that truly belong to me. Our lives can sometimes be complicated and stressful, with many problems to solve, differences to overcome with friends and family, challenges at work, and the need to take care of our health and finances. Dealing with all of this can disturb our tranquility, but learning to act as if nothing affects us is crucial. It's difficult to stay calm, but we can do something about it. We can pretend that these things don't affect us and act without being dominated by circumstances. In this video, I will explain why it's so beneficial to be different and to find more assertive solutions and answers to life's challenges. We would be grateful if you could start by showing your support with a like. Every time you do that, you signal to YouTube that you enjoyed what you watched. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on all the valuable content we're preparing for you. Epictetus believed that freedom was the most essential aspect of life. If we are controlled by external people or circumstances, then we are not free. Learning to be the master of our emotions is crucial. Getting upset or letting our joy be stolen. That person will be our master, and we will be their slaves. Achieving freedom is significant because once we are independent of these factors, we can be freed both externally and internally. No longer subject to the influence of passions, we must do our best to free ourselves from external forces that seek to control us. Remember, you have the power to choose your behavior, just like Viktor Frankl, the Swiss psychiatrist who spent 3 years in a concentration camp and still demonstrated that no one can steal our freedom. We can choose our attitude in any situation. Many contemporary psychologists claim that it's impossible to always feel happy in difficult circumstances, but it's possible for those who have worked on themselves and practiced techniques that help maintain calm, serenity, and joy in any situation. Thus, we are all capable of achieving levels of serenity in any situation, even if we don't initially have them internally. It's possible to continue being ourselves by choosing an indifferent attitude. We can choose not to react and pretend that things don't affect us. But what happens when we start pretending that something doesn't affect us? According to Epictetus, you become what attracts your attention. He found that if we start acting in a certain way or paying attention to something, we eventually become that. You start believing that something doesn't affect you, and in that way, it becomes relevant to you. This will eventually become a reality in your mind through practice. At first, you might not feel that calm and tranquility, but over time, you will. William James, the father of American psychology, said, "If you want a quality, act as if you already had it." As a result, William James found that if you start believing you have a certain quality, that quality will eventually become yours, as long as you remain calm and unaffected by circumstances. The same principle aligns with Epictetus's theory that the steeper the learning curve, the more time you need to practice. Initially, you may decide that something doesn't affect you or is irrelevant, but it's equally important to keep control of your thoughts. This won't work if you decide something doesn't affect you and then lament or become annoyed by it in your thoughts. It's crucial to align your external behavior with a consistent internal thought pattern. For example, tell yourself that nothing affects you and nothing can affect you. Decide that no one hurts you and you won't feel hurt. You have control over your thoughts, not external events. Understand this, and finding strength becomes quite simple. If you don't believe someone has offended you, you won't feel offended. Furthermore, for someone to offend you, you need to accept the offense. Therefore, if you start telling yourself that no one can hurt you and that nothing can ruin your serenity, that will eventually become a fact. You'll realize the power of this strategy if you can externally convince yourself that nothing affects you and then internally convince yourself that nothing affects you. That you are calm and invulnerable, that you are immune to circumstances and what others say. Eventually, you'll achieve true serenity, after which circumstances or people's behavior will no longer affect you. You'll be able to maintain composure and serenity. And what happens when we try to maintain composure? In short, various aspects of our lives will improve. You'll notice a decrease in stress, as it's not the things themselves that disturb us, but how we feel about them. Don't forget that your interpretation of circumstances will also affect your level of ambivalence. If we learn to control our thoughts and behaviors, we'll eventually be able to control our levels of ambivalence. If that happens, we'll be freed from these external circumstances and will have control over our internal states. The pursuit of freedom is a central theme in Epictetus's philosophy. He believed that to be truly free meant being independent of external circumstances and mastering our internal emotions. Freedom is not just related to our external situation, but also to how we interpret and react to the situations we face. Epictetus uses the example of Viktor Frankl to illustrate the importance of choosing our attitude in the face of adversity. Frankl, a Swiss psychiatrist who survived a concentration camp, demonstrated that even in the worst circumstances, we can maintain the freedom to choose our thoughts and attitudes. This inner freedom allows us to find meaning and purpose even in moments of extreme suffering. Serenity is also a skill we can develop. Epictetus suggests that we can practice emotional indifference by choosing how to react to the situations we face. By acting as if something doesn't affect us, we gradually become less susceptible to these emotional disturbances. This practice doesn't deny the importance of dealing with emotions, but emphasizes the need not to be dominated by them. It's a journey that requires effort and patience, but the result is achieving true inner serenity. Epictetus highlights that through this achievement, we can be free regardless of external circumstances. Throughout the text, Epictetus emphasizes the importance of controlling our thoughts and behaviors. He reminds us that we are responsible for our own reactions and emotions, and we can choose how we feel in the face of life situations. Epictetus's philosophy can be a valuable source of wisdom for facing the challenges of daily life and achieving a more peaceful and meaningful existence. The practice of serenity, emotional indifference, and inner freedom can allow us to live more consciously, responsibly, and resiliently. Thank you very much for watching. What did you think of this great lesson? Please let us know your opinion. If you're new here, consider subscribing to journey with us along the paths of wisdom. See you soon.